Now this is one of my favorite movements. While her legs are extended, I'm just gently rocking the hips from the hubs, one hand on the shoulder and one hand on the hip flexor. And doesn't that feel good?
Feels amazing.
Yeah. So this is a little bit more stimulating movement. And then if I wanted to slow it down, just her body went into that natural rhythm wave, I would just hold and lengthen. So there's different ways that we can approach the body, and we want to kind of experience it as a sampler. And ask the client, which one do you like? Do you like the holding? Did you like the rocking? Do you like both? Just notice what feels good.
Well, personally, I like both.
Yeah.
Just because I love to track in my body all of the different feelings, you know, like I love to be interior in my body. I love to be tracking what's happening in there. So the more information you're putting in, the more nourishing I'm feeling, because I'm tracking all this different nourishment that's going in.
The hands-on is extremely healing because we're actually giving people an experience to feel these parts in your body that tend to be stuck, stagnant, kind of like gripping in a pattern. And I'm introducing a new pattern. So it's not just a push, I'm actually spiraling the hips and letting them rock, which is effortless, literally. This rhythm wave is just happening in the body.
Feel it.
Yeah, and then I like to also just slow it down and hold as I'm lengthening through here. And I'm actually creating space and elongating what I call dynamic traction all the way from the two major hubs so that they can communicate through the side body and rib cage, and not too much, just right. So I can feel that end point, and I just work with the end point. And that's really important. We're not like Rolfing. We could. That's what we're doing here. We're really working with this sheath over the body. There's a web. It's a fabric that is all communicating down through the skin, about a 1/4 inch down. You can start to feel the interstitial fluids and the fascia, which then of course connects to the muscles and goes into the bones and all the layering of the body. But my belief, and what Barbara and I have been talking about, is it's really that interfascial plasticity that hasn't been spoken about in ways that is going to be revolutionizing the way that we are reconstructing our relationship to the body. Interfascial plasticity. We've heard so much about neuroplasticity and the focus on the brain as if the brain controls the body. I know, just like, I know, that's what you think, it's okay. So the brain is an antenna, just like every cell, the trillions and trillions and trillions of cells in the body are antennas. And we're actually discovering that 90% of our serotonin is produced in the belly.
Right here.
And the relationship between the gut health and the brain function is now becoming like a real thing in terms of really understanding the health of the body. And for me, the main hub is the heart. The main apex of this existence is balanced through the hollow sphere of the heart. So this entire practice is a heart opening practice. That we just use that as secret sauce, because they don't come in and be like, oh, I'm going to open my heart. But we want to get into what I call the electrical of the brain, the plasma of the heart, and the fluid of the belly to create this liquid, electric, light experience of communication and movement. It's such a beautiful way to reconstruct the way that we've been taught and approach the body, not just as mechanistic, but as an energetic field that we get to interact with beautiful mediums, magnificent mediums like the swing, that is just allowing for us to alchemize the charge, the surface charge, and the relationship between the parts that have been kind of seen as separate or compartmentalized. Now we're looking at the entire body as a whole system matrix that we're interfacing with and giving people a different experience of moving in multidimensional space through the suspension and through the support. So you get both. You get to lay on the table, completely relaxed, letting the nervous system unfurl, which then allows more of the communication and information to flow. That's why I call this the fluid dynamic movements integrated with the spiral energetics. So we move out of linear movements and get more into these spins and spirals because every cell in the body is a sphere. Every joint in the body is actually a hub and a sphere. And when they can have full mobility and like regain that plasticity through the fascia, it releases and frees up the communication to the muscles. The muscles usually aren't the issue. The muscles are like pawns in the whole exchange through the nervous system and synapses that are firing. The fascia usually will bind or even confine the movement in the muscles. Until the fascia is released, which also is related to the amount of experiences that we have embedded into the tissues, because every memory, every experience is actually integrated into the body through this interstitial communication. Then the muscles can work properly. Then the functionality of the body comes back online. Then the cells get enough energy and voltage to remember their original blueprint, how to function. And then the body can return, has a better opportunity to upgrade to its optimal radiant health. And that's our focus. Our focus is not just exercise, it's not just body work, it's not just soma, mind body connection. I'm particularly passionate about the quantum field and the interaction between two bodies and the amplification of the field when new information comes in through just simply our presence, our awareness, our listening, our watching, our open attention, as Barbara likes to say, quoting Emily, as well as our intuition. We're deeply feeling with them what they're experiencing and responding, listening and responding.